Hey guys, it's Raul again, and today I'll be sharing with you some of my least favorite book adaptations. So a little while ago I did a video of some of my favorite book adaptations, which I will link somewhere on the screen for you guys if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. I will be definitely making a part 2 to some of my favorites because I included 5 of my favorite book adaptations there, and I know that there are a lot more, so I'm definitely going to be updating that and doing a part 2 to that sometime in the future. But today I wanted to share with you guys some of my least favorite book adaptations, because going through my bookshelves I realized that there are a lot of adaptations out there that I did not really enjoy. I know that this is kind of a theme. I think there are more adaptations out there that people end up not enjoying than there is adaptations out there that people end up enjoying, because a lot of the times filmmakers try and cram a 300 or 400 page book into an hour and a half or 2 hour movie, and a lot of the times it just doesn't work. There's so much missing, a lot of changes and edits to it that a lot of the times they don't end up working. So yes, I wanted to share with you guys some of my least favorites. I may make a part 2 if I do end up finding some more adaptations that I don't like. I'll make another video talking about those as well. For now, these are some of my least favorites. Before we get started, just go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I post videos every Tuesday and Friday. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first adaptation on this list is Beautiful Creatures by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stohl. I actually really enjoyed this book, contrary to popular opinion out there. I know a lot of people don't really like this series, especially past book 1. A lot of people just don't enjoy book 2 and beyond. I really enjoyed the series. I read it a couple of years ago. It's a Southern Gothic YA romancy type novel, kind of in the vein of Twilight, but it follows the clans of witches or casters. Really interesting, really enjoyed it again, like I said, but this adaptation, it just did not work for me at all. There were way too many changes in this adaptation compared to the novel. So many characters that got changed, especially with their physical descriptions. I know there's one character in there that is completely described differently in the book than how they were portrayed in this film, and I think it ended up really changing this character a lot for me, just because the way that this character is described in the book, it added to her character. It added to who she was and everything, her being like one of the villains and part of this family of the main character, and I just did not like how she was portrayed in this adaptation. Was my number one gripe when I first started watching it. I knew that this person was not supposed to look this way, and I did not like that at all. And then they switched up the ending, and they switched up so many things in this movie as far as the plot goes, and I just did not enjoy that at all. I know when films or books are being adapted that, there needs to be cuts and things and edits to kind of fit everything together, but I just don't enjoy when adaptations end up changing the whole plot completely and giving us something completely different from the book. And yeah, I feel like this movie definitely did that. I just did not enjoy it. I feel like the setting and everything was nice. I mean, this whole Southern Gothic feel throughout the movie I really enjoyed, but overall I just did not end up enjoying this movie. And apparently, I feel like this movie flopped because none of the other movies came out, and there are 4 books in this series, and we only ever got this one movie. So yeah, that goes to show you how well this movie did when it came out back in 2013. And the next book on this list is probably the movie that inspired this whole video idea, and that is Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. I know a lot of people don't enjoy Dan Brown and his writing. I've read 2 books by Dan Brown, and I have really enjoyed them. I know, they follow Robert Langdon. Everybody kind of knows who he is. He kind of explores kind of these historical mysteries and uncovers these things throughout history. The movies star Tom Hanks, which I absolutely love Tom Hanks, but Angels and Demons, I did not like this adaptation at all. And again, this is because of the fact that they changed the ending. I hate it when endings get changed in movies when an ending was perfectly fine in the book. Again, I enjoyed this book. I really loved it. I haven't read anything else by Dan Brown or anything after Angels and Demons, and I think it was The Lost Symbol. I didn't read Da Vinci Code or anything like that either. But yeah, Angels and Demons, I couldn't. I was enjoying it about 2/3 of the way through, and then the last third of it, it completely lost me. I hated the way things changed and how things ended. There were characters that were supposed to die that in the movie they didn't, and it was just it felt so off for me, and I just did not enjoy it. I haven't watched any of the other adaptations. I think that there was another movie that came out in this whole Robert Langdon series, but I didn't watch that one just because I did not like Angels and Demons so much. I could not stand this adaptation. I've only seen it once and probably will never watch it again to see if I change my feelings on it, because I just did not enjoy it that much the first time I watched it. And the next adaptation on this list is Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I know this is a well-hated adaptation, a very well-loved series, one that I enjoyed myself. I've only read the first 2 books in the series, but I've enjoyed those first 2 books. But yeah, this adaptation, I can see why people did not enjoy it. I enjoyed it on its own when I hadn't read the book. So I first saw this movie without knowing that it was a book adaptation years ago when it first came out. I went to the theaters and watched it in theaters, really enjoyed it at the time, and then found out it was a book series. So then a couple years later, I picked up the books. And then I realized why people did not like this adaptation, because I feel like out of all of the adaptations that are on my list, this is the one with the most changes. This felt nothing like this book. I felt like I was reading something completely different from what I had watched a few years before, and I just did not like it at all. The characters were described differently. Almost everything that happened in the plot in book 1 was completely changed in the movie adaptation, and I did not understand why this many changes needed to be done to this adaptation. Again, I really enjoyed it before I had read the actual source material, and once I read the book, I realized that there were way too many things that were way too different that I just wasn't enjoying at all, and this had to make my list once I read the book, because yes, this book was fantastic. The adaptation compared to the book, just not so much. And the next adaptation on my list is the 2013 version of The Mortal Instruments. I read the Mortal Instruments series, the first 6 books, years ago, and really enjoyed them at the time. But then Cassandra Clare started coming out with way too many books in this series, and now it's like this huge universe of books, and there are so many books that I kind of lost interest. I started reading the prequel series, The Infernal Devices, and just kind of DNF'd that one and never picked it up. So, I mean, there's just way too many books in this series at this point. But this first adaptation that ever came out in 2013, I don't know. Like I said, I read the books, enjoyed them. So when this adaptation came out, I obviously, wanted to go immediately watch this adaptation. And I did not enjoy this one. Again, there are way too many changes within the characters, and I hated the casting choice for Jace, our kind of main male protagonist in this series. He's described to be kind of just like this godlike figure in these books, because he's half angel, half human, and they're supposed to be like these very beautiful people, and the way that they're described in the books and then the casting choice that they had for this movie, just in my head didn't match at all, and I don't know, that kind of threw me off. I didn't really enjoy a lot of the changes that they made. Again, this was another adaptation where they made a lot of changes to the plot where just like it felt a little different than what I had read originally in the book. And yeah, I did not like this one at all, and it had to make this list as soon as I thought about it. And the next adaptation on this list is the 2019 version of Pet Sematary. I hated this movie. I absolutely hated it. I read Pet Sematary last year, really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I don't really read too much Stephen King because his books are very hit or miss for me. But every now and then I do pick up something that I really enjoy. Pet Sematary I really enjoyed. So I really wanted to watch this adaptation because it was kind of, a modern thing. It came out in 2019. So I figured I would go ahead and get it and watch it at home. And I hated this. This movie was terrible. I mean, the acting was horrible. The cinematography, the actors, I did not like this one at all. I didn't like the changes to the plot. I didn't like the changes to the story. Like, there's this huge plot point in this book that just completely changed in the movie and just completely changed the entire movie after that. And then it's spoiled as well in the trailer. So when I saw the trailer after I had watched the movie, it immediately clicked. I was like, that's not supposed to happen. That's not how these things happen in the book. And yeah, I mean, it played out completely differently. Did not like this one at all. Again, from beginning to end, this was a movie that I just did not enjoy. I just kept comparing it to the book that was so much more superior than this adaptation. I think I heard somewhere that Stephen King also hated this adaptation. And I can see why, because I did not like this one at all. I'm a really big fan of horror, and I kind of like more of like the cheesy horror and stuff that comes out every now and then. But this one this just missed the mark in so many ways, and this had to make my list as well. As soon as I started compiling a list this had to make it on there. And the last adaptation on this list is the 2004 version of A Series of Unfortunate Events. This was, I believe, a Nickelodeon movie. It starred Jim Carrey. It had an amazing cast. I mean, this is, out of all of the adaptations that I have on this list, I think this is my favorite cast. You have Jim Carrey, Meryl Streep, I think, was in here as well, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the atmosphere, this creepy vibe with these, orphan kids that are being terrorized by Count Olaf, who's trying to steal their fortune. Again, it's very creepy. I loved the vibe, again, that this movie had, but there were, again, so many changes to the plot that I just did not enjoy. This movie follows the first 3 books in the Series of Unfortunate Event series, and they move them around, and they switch things around in these 3 books to make them all kind of fit into this story or this movie that I just did not enjoy at all. At the end, there were way too many changes to the plot and to a lot of the scenes that I just did not like how they played out, and again ended up changing the ending completely to the book, so it kind of really didn't leave much of openness to continue on with more movies. And again, this is another movie that they only came out with this movie version, didn't come out with the rest of them, so obviously it did not do very well. But yeah, I know that the Netflix series, or I've heard that the Netflix series that came out a few years ago is a lot better. So once I reread A Series of Unfortunate Events, I'm definitely going to watch the Netflix show, because I hear that's a lot better, and I'm way more interested in watching that than rewatching this 2004 version that came out a while ago. So yes, this had to make my list, because I just did not enjoy, again, this one at all. I feel like I keep repeating myself, saying that I did not enjoy this. Clearly, I did not enjoy any of these adaptations. So yeah, guys, that is it for some of my least favorite book adaptations. Comment down below. Let me know what some of your least favorite book adaptations are. If any of mine are on your list as well, I would absolutely love to know. And let me know if you guys want an updated video later on of these. I'm constantly watching movies and things, and I'm pretty sure there are more adaptations somewhere on my shelves that didn't make it on this first list. So I will definitely, again, most likely be making another updated list. If you guys want to see that as well, let me know. Thank you guys all again for watching, and I will see you all next time.